Good morning. Right. Okay. How you doing? It's cold today. It's like 75 or something like that. I'm like, it's winter. All right, I won't complain for you that are really in the cold. I'm cold. I might have to put some clothes on. All right, let me settle myself and we shall get started. To record here so that those of you who want the full recording in a circle can have it record.
Recording in progress.
Oh, that's loud. Did you hear that? I shall turn myself down. Okay, so what are we doing today? Oh, I hear you ask. We are hitting 100 tomorrow. No, I'm not laughing. I worked out that the pool floaties work in the ocean really well. So I'll have to post a picture because I was like, oh, I could just float around in the pool and have my coconut water. And then I was like, no, let's go to the ocean because there's a space. It's Hapuna Beach. Anyway, it's got a local name, but we took our floaty. And when I say floaties, I'm like the round ones you sit in and it's got your cup holder and it's floating around. I'm going, man, relaxing hurts. You know, relaxing can hurt. It's getting a sore neck from just like hanging there, relaxing. Oh, it's hilarious. Anyway, that's what I do in the afternoons before sunset. It's hard work of a mystic. Do you like my graffiti? All right, so the teas are already here, which is awesome. So let's tune in. Or we'll tune in how we do here. And let's start this lesson. I don't have a great deal of time, so we're going to finish at 10, whether I like it or not, because I've got some interviews to do today. So let's take a moment. Okay. And wipe the tears, the joyful tears, the spirit tears, the salty tears, tears of the mother. Oh, what? Oh, mother. The salt. Have I taught you about the salty tears? No? That's a teaching in its own. Shall we remind you? Well, no, it's not. I won't leave it up to you if you'd like to. So we're going to do on this live version, also live, right? Not in person, but live. We're going to go into a little process to connect, a mystical process, you know. Many of you have been scared off by the thought or feeling of having to be embodied. So who am I to force you? There will come a time when you'll go, oh, where was that woman who was trying to tell us something? And I'll be here. I'll be here to serve. So until then, we'll stick where most of you enjoy, which is the spiritual ego. Knowing that as you expand and as you move into more of who you are, your human existence will be screaming out to you, what about me? It isn't fair. I've had enough. Now I want my share. Do you remember that song? Can't you see? Oh, it might have been an Australian band. I want to live. No? But you just take more than you give. What about me? No? It's a good song. Take a step back and see the little people. They might be young, but they're something. And let the big people listen as they whisper. So you're a little human. I'm not a singer. Oh, I guess we're all singers. I'm not ever going to say that again. I'm a singer. M.A., I'm a singer. I can sing. And it just depends how your ears are, whether you like that or not. So your little one, your human, and all the little aspects of it will be screaming to you if you're not listening to the whispers. How's that for a teaching off the cuff, right? Write that song. What About Me, it's called. What's the band? I can see them. I used to love that song when I was a kid, like 9 years old, 8, 9 years old, like it's an old song. So what's your relationship with your body? What's your relationship with the other aspects of yourself? Whether that be what you may discuss or believe or have an inkling. If we just put these levels and these different ways of knowing out the window for a moment, just in the tree, just there in the tree with the birds. And contemplate this relationship with you, with aspects of you, all the aspects, all the parts. Much of which is ephemeral, not tangible, like my hands. Well, all right. Right? Sometimes there, sometimes not. Sorry about entertaining myself today. Right? Sometimes tangible, sometimes, well, actually never tangible. You can't touch it with your hand. And you are coming in and out of existence in every micro moment. Now, faster and faster and faster and faster. Do any of you have the ability to see that? Do you see the pixelations? Right? It's possible. That's how I see. That's how I know. That's how I speak about it. Started speaking about it because that's how I saw when we listen with the ear of the heart, right? And we view, right, with that stillness. We can see beyond relative reality. We can see the pixelations of what creates and makes up what we think, what we believe, what we've been told, what our system, our dreaming, you might say. Our dreaming. Am I dreaming you? Are you dreaming me? Are you dreaming your body into existence in every moment? Who's dreaming the dreamer? So that can do your head in a little if you stay there too long. But you can. I'm just feeling into that, whether that's something that we can look at. How to view, how to learn how to view in all the different ways. What you're viewing, what you're seeing, how to start to see beyond what we might call the veils, or behind or into that space between the space. I didn't plan that, but it's so cool. It's interesting how my head doesn't disappear though, right? I'm sure it's they've coded it well. So if we go slow, it's okay. So if we go slow, the matrix can keep up. Do you know that if we are still within ourselves, not still in body, but still within, have a stillness, connect into that neutral mind, that meditative mind. Yeah. And we have that, you may call it mindfulness, but people have a bastardized understanding of mindfulness. So when we're still, our energy is actually faster. Did you know that? As we evolve, how the wave moves is longer, but faster. It's interesting if I talk to people about their pulse. So if I say your pulse, what do you think of? It's off the top of your head, no right or wrong, but I like to have a conversation. We haven't even done the gong yet. Let's jump straight in when we do the gong at the end. So when I say the pulse, the heartbeat? Anyone else? Let me see in the I probably should look at the restream as well. The heartbeat. Someone might be talking to me and I can't see. Let me get you up. What else? Whoa, I feel the energy today. Whoa. Is that you all thinking? Are you thinking? All right, so I've got the restream up. So if you want to put, if you're watching from YouTube or any of the other platforms, if you comment, I can see your comments too, so you can talk, we can talk. Okay. Don't be shy. All right. Ooh, there's energy coming in today. Can you feel it? Can you feel? Okay, heartbeat. Yeah, heartbeat. For our physical pulse, we have a physical pulse, which is that, I guess when we take our pulse, we're counting the beat, the pulsing of the veins, right? Or something like that. I take what's called an energetic pulse. And so in traditional and ancient Chinese medicine, we can take the pulse and, I'll say it this way, understand what's going on with the human. And in higher energy understanding, we can feel, so by holding, and I do this energetically, and some of you that I've worked with and on in person and distantly, as I connect with your feet, your ankles, there's a particular way of holding. It doesn't matter whether it's physical or at a distance. There's an energetic pulse, and the energetic pulse tells me where you are in your awakening and ascension, where you are in your conscious evolution. So based on what I've said, why do you think that's so? Like how I could tell. Is it too early for this? It's not for me. It's 9 a.m. I've been up for hours, but I'm getting you to think. I'm not getting you. I'm inviting you to be part of the conversation. And this is a way that we can do that. So you can feel the vibration. Oh, look at you go. Woohoo! Yes. See, it makes me happy when you talk to me. Your vibration will be higher. You can feel the vibration. Yes, yes, yes. And there's no wrong answer, mind you, necessarily. It's just I'm going to refine it. Okay? So those answers are correct. And think of the different cadences of maybe your life. And sometimes it's this slow. Now, slow isn't bad. Don't get slow being bad in your head. It's not good or bad, right? Because if I were to tell you that there was what we'd call the father pulse, you know, the father is with you, or the mother is with you, right? And the father pulse is a boom, 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 solid, strong, this strength is like that, right? And the mother pulse is right. If you've ever been, so that's why I've got mystic behind me. We're going mystical, a little mystical, because felt like it. When, for instance, so those of you, I'm looking at one of you that live near Bell Rock. I always call it the wrong names. Bell Rock, for instance. Go in that stillness and sit, at the foot. You don't even have to climb it, but sit at the foot. You could go in and onto it and see how that changes. As I'm speaking about it, I can feel it, because I have had a merging with the energy there. And Cathedral Rock, or say hill, mountain, hill. So I don't know if you know this, but as a gatekeeper, I have traveled the world and walked the mother lines and the father lines. More mother than father, because that's what had called me, being, mystic medicine woman, the mother of the mother in this world, right? I'm very connected with raising the awareness of the energy which does connect to when I'm talking about fear in a way, right? That's another story. We're going to stick to this for now because it may confuse you purely because of the fast, slow, up, down, all of that. So cathedral rock, when I went with my dear friend who's a shaman, so we would travel together and work the land, experience the energy, and I would do my gate work and she would do what she does. Sometimes we would share it. There's probably, if you go back in the archives, you'll see some of the stuff we did together live on different places. But specifically these two I'm bringing up because some of you are very close to that place and could literally go and practice that. So what am I talking about? When I walk and am in energy, so I feel, see, sense, know, taste, smell, it touches me. Energy, subtle energy, information, data. So as I walk places, I feel what the energy is and I see what the energy is. Okay? And it's different in different places. And this is why the mother took me to many different places, not knowing why I was there, and then I would be shown somehow. People would say this is a particular type of place, and I would look at the energy. I wouldn't believe them necessarily. I would say, oh, okay. And then I would sit with the place and I would look to see what the density, what the chi or vitality globules, some may call them, what the energy formations and what it looks like, right? And some of you know this. I've taught you it in intuitive studies, or evolve it, probably more so. And in my paintings and artwork, you'll see a lot of that energy. You won't know it unless you start to see it and you go, oh, that's what I see. And I'll be like, yeah. And then I can tell you what it is. I don't generally tell you until you start to see it because I don't want to plant that. Okay. However, going to, so we slept at the end. So my friend lived at the bottom of Cathedral Hill. Rock. See, I always call it hill. But it's rock. Yes, it is a rock and a hill, whatever. It's where the cathedral is. And it's sort of got this wave-like formation, to me anyway. Why? Because when I look at places that have this very strong mother energy, there's a fluidity to it. Now, in saying that, you can see that without looking at anything. So I don't want to confuse you. Bear with me. We've got to swap over in a moment, so I want to get to the point. That when we start to see beyond the dreaming, it does get water-like, fluid-like, right? Where you can still see everything around you, but there's this in-between space gets real fluid and starts to move and merge. Have any of you seen that? When you connect with the mother in those spaces that have that real strong feminine or female, it's not feminine, it's not human feminine energy, right? Put it this way, as I walked towards or up towards the hill, Cathedral Hill specifically, and there's lots of other places, these ones are good because one's the mother and one's the father. And as I walked with my friend, I teach as I go. I say you should, most of the time I just look at them, look at the people with me, and I can see her face, her chin was going. My whole face was doing this because I'm sensitive to any, like I'm tuned in. So I'm walking and my whole body is pulsating, and I could see her lips starting to do this. So as we were walking, I was saying, "What are you feeling?" what's happening. Like everything that I teach, what's going on with the body. And she'll say, whatever, and I'll say, notice your face, for instance. So I won't say, oh, notice how your mouth's doing this, right? It's like tuning people into their own system. And right, so I gave her the lesson of the mother energy, that quickness. And when you're in it, in a place that, and you're turned on to receive, how palpable that is to the physical. So there's that. Then, as you move and you receive and you accept, the fluidity starts to move, literally the rock around you, right? So as a mystic, this is my world. I don't talk about it very much because the fear of fear and the fear of love, right? So if you experience that, you might go, holy shit, and start running the other way, right? That's fear of love, because you're walking towards something so magnificent and engulfing. And the waves, because it's like wave-like, fluid waves of energy that you can see. And as you're watching, it's like the rock, the stone is molten and moving. Have I told you this before? No? Okay. I got a million stories. I don't know what I tell when. So what I'm saying is you may not experience that, but if you go to places, any place, and just tune into the place, whether it's just a few breaths, or if you've got, you might have a little bowl or a bell or whatever it is for you, a chant, a mantra. And with your intention, just be open to receiving the information that's at that point on the earth. Now, there's a church here, it's called the Painted Church. Have you been to that, Emma? The Painted Church? It's a very, I didn't even have to go into the church. Like everyone goes to go into the church. We were driving up to the place, and on the road I was like, whoa, I could feel it. It's that whole area is a similar feel. And I had Eric and his two daughters there, and I was teaching Eric. Same thing, like with my friends. So people are with me, and I start to feel something very palpable that, because some things are so subtle that not everybody has the refinement to pick that channel up, so to speak, right? So the Painted Church, if anyone's in Big Island, Hawaii, Painted Church. And in fact, that's where he says we were first married, because of that energy, and when we walked down the aisle of that Painted Church, in Eric's mind, that's when we got married. It was just that energy. Anyway, back to the wave. So, that amount of information is, it can be a lot. And so, I like to sit and swim in that, but it's a lot. Because why? Why do you think that's a lot for people? There's numerous answers here, but what comes to mind? Why would that be a lot for people to sit in that amount of information? Fear. Oh, do I have a star? I need to give you a star. Yes, fear. Fear of what? Fear of what? Yes. Oh, 2 star students. Yes. Fear, well, I'll tell other people. Fear of love. Why? You're on a roll. Why? Why is it fear of love? If you're in such an expansive, potentially expansive, sensation, Yes, it's a reflection of your greatness. Oh, this could be your end of year exam, ladies. Yes, yes. Does that make sense now more? Just from that little conversation? I mean, at least it gives you an indication when we're going towards something. Or, so again, I'll tell you another story, but we'll go to Bell Hill. Actually, we go to Bell Hill first. Bell Rock. I think their real name's Hill because that's just what has always come out of my mouth. So I'm just saying it looks like a hill, but for me, they are sort of mountainous, right? They're yeah, says Rebel from a hugely mountainous place. But anyway, so I have so many stories about that place, but I just wanted to touch in about the energy at that space, right? Yeah, the real mountain is behind my house. Yeah. That you can feel the different, you can see, you can feel, you can sense the different pulse in the environment, in yourself, right? So then we go to Bell Rock. And I'd never been there before, knew nothing about it. Most places I go, I have no idea. I just guided there, and we ended up at Bell Rock. Apparently, it's lots of people know about it. So there you go. Now I do too. And I sat at the foot of it, and lots of interesting things happened. But it was that boom, boom, and it actually made my friend feel unwell. So she walked back to the car, and I sat there for ages, being with that different energy that some may like that better than others, right? They feel more comfortable in a a solid boom, slower, but it's really, really solid. And what the energy looks like there, right? Some are more comfortable with the fast energy. I'm more comfortable with the fast energy. I love fast energy, and my energy is very fast, right? But it's because I swim in that. But the idea of being embodied is bringing both. So let's go back to why I said about the energetic pulse and why I hold when I do those advanced, those higher energy activations or protocols. Really, they're not activations. It's seeing where your system is. And when you go through your death alchemy, what we call the death alchemy, which is a full-on spiritual death, it's not like, oh, something lifted from me. I'm being a smart ass, but you get what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, now I know something new. Well, yeah, and it's a death. It brings you closest in polarity without, what have I said? Love and fear, just is. And when you move to as close or as far, however you want to language that, to not having polarity, which is what the mystics and the medicine men and women do. It's not for the necessarily for the layman, right? Because of what you're doing is coming as close to death without dying. It's the death alchemy. Some of us, have had near-death experiences. I'm not talking about near-death experiences, although that for some people they're coming as close to death, or I'm still say as close to death because they're coming back. So even though they may have died for a moment, they've come back, like my uncle, right? His resurrection. He died and he came back. My grandmother. Oh, there's a whole... I'm just thinking, there's a whole lineage of my family who died and came back to life. My grandmother woke up in the morgue after she had my uncle. another uncle on the other side of the family, and she had amnesia for a while, didn't know who she was. Is that a spiritual death, or is that just a near-death experience? You die and you come back and you have to figure out how to come back into the body. My experience of that, well, when I was 10, that happened to me, but as an adult, through my spiritual development, I'm just looking at the time, we've got to switch over, but through spiritual development, our conscious evolution, we get to a space where we go through the death alchemy, and we are prepared for that, right? My students are preparing for that, preparing their vessels, preparing their minds, right? So there's ways that we can see where and what's happening, right? And one of them is what the pulse, the energetic pulse is doing, that subtle pulse. It's not a physical pulse, right? And that tells us what the mother energy and the father energy is doing. And when you're coming close to that death alchemy, what do you think the pulse would feel like? Just as a guess, because I'm not sure if I've ever taught this before, if you heard it. So if you've got the fast energy of the mother and the slow, beating of the father, what do you think would happen when they start to come together? Not come together, but start to come together. Just a guess. Just play with me. Come on, you can do it. Feels magnetic. Well, the mother energy is magnetic. Yeah. I would say vanish. Yeah, you're both right. In a way, there's something that happens before the vanishing. So you got two coming to one, but they're not one yet. So when we have the one, there's a going deep. It goes very deep. You can't feel the pulse. That's like a vanish, or like a deep dive into the one. Anyway, I'll tell you, because to save time, but you'll get it. You'll be like, ah, oh. Right? So when you got one or the other, you're comfortable in one or the other. But when they start to try to come together, what happens in relationships? At the beginning, it's all like love and but what happens when, there starts to be the potential of a merger, the two into one, right? In the first year, yes, that's the word I was looking for. Chaos, right? Repel, or chaos, fighting to try to repel one or the other. So you'll hear people say things about, what do they call it? Twin flame and, soul mates, all those sorts of things, right? And there's the runner and the chaser, and then it'll flip and that sort of thing. You could sort of view it like that, I guess. When we come together and we're working out how to merge two into one, so for a marriage or a long-term partnership, something like that, this is where in relationships, a lot of the upheaval happens. And so you have words like the honeymoon phase, and then you come out of that honeymoon phase, and then the reality comes in. Now, what's the reality? The reality is that we're the mirror, or we're the teacher for the other and ourselves in what's still needed to be learnt. The trigger is the fear coming to give us some information. So I'm saying, if you can listen to the whisper, you don't need the scream. If you listen to the tap, so in spirit we say, listen to the tap, or right, it's just the gentle touch. So you don't need to be slapped, right? So with that, the pulse, you'll go from one to the other. And I always visualized it like the heartbeat on the heart monitor, right? And just before you die, it starts to go, you know, it goes beep, 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 and then it goes beep, 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 and then it'll go beep, 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 then it white lines, right? That's why I don't talk about balance a lot, because balance to me is almost like that white line. It's death. Okay. So there's that craziness before the going deep and merging, right? So there's, you know, if we relate that, and I have to wrap up, but we relate that to the waves, the frequency waves, right? You can, there's different pictures. I do have pictures, but I don't have them ready to put up right now. So why am I telling you all this? I don't know. Why am I telling you all this? What's come up in your world today? Because I didn't plan to tell you any of that. I didn't have a plan. I just showed up, right? So this is what's come up. This energy, this pulsing, the mother, the father, and the unity, the unconditional love, or the love, the fear to unconditional love, right? And the dance, how it feels, and how there's, you know, whatever one you're comfortable in. Well, why are you comfortable? So reflect that on yourself, or with yourself. Start to go to these places and around you, or even your home, and just start viewing. And maybe Thursday, if you remind me, I can teach you about ways of viewing, right? Because there's many, many ways. I just call it all viewing because I like to keep it simple, right? But there are different things you're viewing for, right? You can't see energy directly. You have to sort of look at it side on, right? So class Thursday, 4th of July. Well, what are you doing on Thursday? I don't know. If you you know, maybe we can, I can, no plans, all right, well, I'll show up then. Which I plan to, I don't, you know how I mean, over the years, I plan classes on Christmas Day and stuff. I just put it in the diary, and it's the students that say, that's a holiday. And I'm like, and where's your dedication? No. Yeah. I'm sure people training for the Olympics turn up on 4th of July. Actually, Marion Jones was saying this, you know, she was talking about training. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Do you stop? You practice. So anyway, yeah, okay, I'll be here, and we can look at that, but remind me. A lot happens between here and then, but I will write a note. So what did I say? Viewing. What I had thought about going into was today, which we didn't, but connecting more with yourself. But I guess we did talk about that on it. This is more around why you would. So if we're connecting to, you know, embodying, right? So you can go out to be able to feel, see, sense, know all the subtleness of your world and yourself. And there'll be a time when it's like, what's the word? You plateau, because you're not embodied. And as you come back more into the body, the soul embodiment, you both, you are, right? So it's not about having to try and work and do and, right, the striving. And some of you might be starting out and you'll need accountability of some description to keep you on that, you know, on that journey, just like anything. You know, whether you're going to practice anything to get better at it, to refine. So if that's what you're looking at in your life, which ultimately helps every other aspect of your life, right? Because you're learning about relationship to self, relationship to other, relationship to soul and spirit, relationship to your body and your energy, okay, which really grounds you into a space. Now, in the beginning, I didn't want to be grounded. I didn't, yeah, don't talk to me about that stuff. And I was shown over years why I didn't like that, because how people teach and talk about grounding is not how I talk about grounding and earthing, right? Because I had that knowing that what they're talking about wasn't ideally for those that are mystically inclined, that are wanting to really fly, really be as expanded and contracted at the same time. And there's a couple of you who have experienced that directly. And my heart wants more of you to experience that, meaning that your mother and father, your heaven and earth, your physical and spirit at the same time. Have you experienced that yet? I know I don't want to mention names and stuff, but I know some of you have. But you may not know that that's what it was. I might need to remind you in a minute. All right, so let's leave it at that. We'll go over to the inner circle, and I'll see you on Thursday. Also, if you want to come on to the Spirit Whisperer series number 5, Ego Evolution, how to turn fear into fuel for growth, which sort of talks about aspects of this, you know, the shifting the relationship to fear and fear of love, so that you can be more of who you are, so that you can navigate all the aspects of your life, right? So in the copy, wherever you're watching this from, you'll see right down the bottom, scroll down the bottom, and there'll be Spirit Whisperer link. You can click on that, it's free. We start July 15th, and there's a bunch of speakers, a bunch of free gifts, and I'll be doing a 2-day live class at the end of it. So feel free to come to that, and so sign up. All right, we're going over now. Much love to you all. I'll see you on Thursday, and come with your questions, and yeah, and let's get a better understanding of all this and how you can utilize it in your own life, and why it might be important